BCS Array Sports Network. From Learfield IMG College, this is the Overwatch League podcast presented by Oreos. Here's the voice of the BCS Array, Daniel Voiles.
Knowing this championship fight is really getting intense for the Overwatch League is really something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on so far here today. Welcome to the Education Dreams Are Amazing and a Why Was It Raining So Hard edition of the Overwatch League podcast and the IMSA podcast. Daniel Voiles here in our PCS Array studios here today, ready to review week number 14. Of course, the Summer Showdown is brought to you by our friends at Coca-Cola. Don't mind me sounding like this. I just woke up. I've been having some sleep issues lately, and it is really causing me to wake up. I don't know. Yesterday, I woke up around 3 o'clock. Roughly 3 o'clock. I don't know. I've been having some sleep issues, and I'm really sorry if I sound like this, but I feel like someone just beat the shit out of me and just threw a gigantic get-out-of-jail-free card, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. But, anyway. But I'm excited to do this show and all that. So, I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday because, well, my Wednesday is off to a why the hell am I tired start. But thankfully for me, I bought some Kickstart just to wake me up. Mountain Dew Kickstart. I got a fruit punch, and then in that bag I have the other Kickstart flavor, the orange one. And if anybody comes across the stream, I am not sharing. So, yes. So here's some of the final scores. We had, I'll probably do last week's just in case if I forgot to do it for week 13. Atlanta 3, London 0, Boston 3, Houston 0, Hanzu Spark 3, New York E 2, the Chengdu Hunters 3, Philadelphia 2, Shanghai shut out the LA Valiant 3-0, Washington 3, London 0, LA Gladiators 3, Toronto 0, Dallas 3, Houston 0, New York E 3, Philadelphia 1, Chengdu Hunters 3, LA Valiant 1, Shanghai 3, Hunter Spark 1, Atlanta 3, Boston 0, Dallas 3, Toronto 1, Washington 3, the Gladiators 2, Shanghai 3, New York E 0, Chengdu Hunters 3, Seoul 2, Washington 3, Paris 2, LA Gladiators 3, Boston 0, Dallas 3, Washington 2, and then Atlanta beat the Gladiators 3-2. Final scores from my birthday week from last week. It was a 3-1 win for the Chengdu Hunters over Dallas. It was a 3-0 win as well for the Shanghai Dragons. They had no issues with Atlanta. No issues for Shanghai as they took down Chengdu Hunters 3-2 on the 16th, last Friday. It was a 3-2 victory for Dallas over Atlanta, which they eliminated Atlanta. Chengdu Hunters then eliminated Dallas 3-0, but Shanghai won it 4-1. So that is the scores, which means Shanghai took the win in the Summer Showdown. So there you go. We are getting closer and closer to playoff competition, if you know what I mean. A little news I just want to pass along. It was announced yesterday that the semifinals will be in Arlington, the esports arena in Arlington, Texas, to the happiness of Sean Art. And then the Gallon Center will be in, I believe it's in LA. Let me check. Yes, it is in LA. I want to double check to confirm that with you all. Yep, it will be at the Gallon Center in. It'll be in the Gallon Center in downtown Los Angeles. So, the grand finals will be in LA. Woo! Hollywood's biggest names so far. But to get there, they have to get ready for a couple of more tournaments. We've got one more tournament coming up before the playoffs. So let me take a look at these standings as we stand. So Dallas has got 15. San Francisco, Houston are tied for second with 9 points. Gladiators, Washington, Atlanta have 8 points. And then Boston, Paris, and Toronto have 6. That is the postseason play and cutoff. And then everyone below Toronto, I believe, has been mathematically eliminated. Florida has 5. London and Vancouver have yet to score. So, yeah. That's the playoff. And with that tournament win for Shanghai, they have locked themselves a spot into the playoffs. Congratulations to them. They have 18 points. Seoul and Chengdu Hunters have 9. Philadelphia and Hunter Spark 7. Excuse me. New York E has 5. Gansu Charge has 3. LA Valiant has 0. At the end of the regular season, the top 3 teams from the West and the 2 teams from the Eastern Regional will directly qualify into the playoffs. A play-in tournament for each region will qualify an additional 3 teams, 2 from the West, 1 from the East, into the remaining spots in the 8-team double elimination. So, yeah. So that means all of these teams are bidding a spot in the playoffs. Some of them, I would say, would be in a must-win situation, if you know what I mean. So now here are the games for the countdown deal, which this will be in a couple of weeks because they will take a week off next week. Dallas will take on Paris on July 30th. Houston taking on Washington. Hansu Spark will take on Seoul on July 31st. New York E will take on the Los Angeles Valiant. Philadelphia will be in Shanghai, taking on the Shanghai Dragon. New York E will take on LA Valiant, which is a doubleheader. That is like an encore. Boston takes on Paris. Atlanta will take on the Los Angeles Gladiators. Dallas will take on San Francisco. Then on August 1st, Seoul will take on the LA Valiant. Shanghai will take on New York E, ×2. Hansu Sparks will take on Philadelphia. Atlanta, Houston, San Francisco at Boston, and Washington hosting Los Angeles Gladiators. So those are your fixtures coming up. So as I said, this show will be off next week because there is an off week. And then the following week, we'll just recap week 16. Yes, can you believe we are 6 weeks away from crowning a champion in the Overwatch League podcast. So that's it for this portion of the stream show. With that being said, it's time to head over to the IMSA podcast to talk about what the hell happened at Lime Rock. So now, take it away, the voice me.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the International Motorsports Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast, retransmission or other dissemination or the use of this broadcast, descriptions or accounts of this show without the express written consent of the International Motorsports Association is prohibited. on the PCS Array Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Welcome to the IMSA podcast presented by Toyota. Now at the call of today's show, here's the voice of the PCS, Daniel Voiles.
And I hadn't even left the stream yet. Ha ha ha. First, before we get the IMSA podcast rocking and roll, I'm going to take a drink. Okay. So we're here, the IMSA podcast. Woohoo! About time. Wait a minute. What did I do with the IMSA? Barnes & Noble. Did I delete it? Dead blasted, I did. Barnes & Noble. I had one job and I blew it. Good job, me. Barnes & Noble. Anyway. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Event schedule. That's what I want. So, my first race weekend as a 27-year-old, Lime Rock, was good, to tell you all the truth. But Mother Nature had other ideas for the first non-prototype race of the season. First GT race, to be exact. As Trevor just poked me. Alright, so let's give you the, what happened from the, course, the only full course caution at Lime Rock, which makes this easier for me, was Mother Nature. It was pouring. The race was red flag, never got restarted. And the winners was Jordan Taylor, Antonio Garcia, and Ross Gunn and Roman DeAngelis for GT Daytona. So here's the results. For the GT Le Mans, it was Jordan Taylor, Antonio Garcia, Tommy Miller, Nick Tandy, Mathieu Jaminet, and Cooper McNeil. Easy pie for GT Daytona, which they were guaranteed a podium either way. For the top 10 results in GT Daytona, Ross Gunn, Roman DeAngelis won, Madison Snow, Brian Sellers second, Jack Hawksworth, Aaron Tellez third, Lorenz Ventoot and Zachary Robajon fourth, Bill Oberlin, Robert Foley fifth, Jeff Westphal, Richard Highstand sixth, Frankie Pereira, Miska Galtenberg 7th, Trent Hidman, Patrick Long 8th, Mario Falmbacher, Jeff Kingsley 9th, Zach Veach, Franco Montecalvo completed the top 10. And then we had Mark Till, whatever his last name is. Catherine Legg had an awful weekend, finished 12th, with Robert Frioli. Andy Lally, John Potter completed the field. Yeah, Monsoon summed it up, but it was still some good racing nevertheless. Let's get to some IMSA news. On Friday, and we talked about this on Triple P Sunday night, Monday morning, about this little funny story. A Lime Rock spokesperson, arrest was made for reckless endangerment when a Rouge motorhome ventured onto the track this afternoon. It was stopped by IMSA safety officials. Yeah, that was interesting. That was probably the WTF moment of 2021. Imagine NASCAR doing that, so, yeah. GT Spec Corvette for, will not go into effect for Corvette racing until the 2024 Rolex 24 at Daytona. So there you go. The FIA, ACO, and IMSA firmed up an agreement for the future endurance racing. Good for them. The LMH manufacturers must meet IMSA's criteria for eligibility, which would start in 2023, which I'll be very glad that happened. And then news today regarding about Lexus. Lexus advocating simplicity between GT Daytona Pro and GT Daytona regulations. Because announced last month the new for 2021 GT3 spec base category would feature same specification Michelin Pilot Sports S9M tires, a number of elements carried over GT Daytona. However, IMSA confirmed at the time it would utilize a separate balance of performance between the two classes, as well as carrying over the difference refueling restrictor size from the soon-to-be defunct GT Le Mans class. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. And, yeah, so, Lime Rock, as I said, is going to get an 8 for me because, I mean, yeah, they had a lot of good racing, but, of course, bad safety is the #1 key in the world, and that's going to be the thing. So, yeah. And it's really going to be interesting. Okay then. So looking forward to see how many more news we'll have between now and then, because IMSA's on a very long break, if you know what I mean. So should it be interesting? Looking to see how that's going to go. Alright, looking ahead, we're going to Road America in about, in several weeks' time. Yes, Road America, of course, the IMSA Sports Car Weekend. Should be a very good race so far. Of course, interesting note, after Road America, we also get another month off until we go to Monterey, which was supposed to have been earlier this year, but was postponed because of COVID-19. Same with the Acura Grand Prix at Long Beach, but should be some good races. Which, interesting to note, we only have 5 races left to go until we crown champions in all the classes, and we only have 5 more episodes to go on this channel after today, so woohoo! So anyway, Road America is going to be a really fun little track. I think we're going to see some big surprises, if you know what I mean. I think we're going to see a fun race. Of course, I believe all of the classes are back, so yeah. So with that said, it is time for me to give you my keys to the race. Keys to the race: take care of the brakes. Of course, we've seen it in the past where somebody loses their brakes and they end up going straight into the wall. And I think it's going to be really a good race. And you know, fuel mileage is going to be very sorry, I'm texting Taylor in the president's chat. But should be interesting to see if and also, you know, please don't go 3 wide through the kink or we're going to have a severe accident. So that's just my piece of advice to go. So, yeah. My final thoughts, for me, is, this season, and I have a feeling Corvette Racing is going to lock up the GT Le Mans Championship, what will be the final ever GT Le Mans Championship. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a big surprise to see what's going to happen. Of course, we got the Countdown Cup. But it should be a very exciting should be exciting to see, and looking forward to what we'll have in the next coming weeks so far. So here's a little schedule coming up for the IMSA podcast. August the 9th, which is less than a few weeks from now, we'll be recapping Road America. We'll be previewing... so here are the dates for the remaining episodes of the IMSA podcast. August 9th, which will recap Road America. September the 13th or 14th. 13th would be my guess. We'll recap Monterey. September 26th, we'll recap Long Beach. October 11th, we'll recap VIR. And the season finale of the IMSA podcast for 2021, November the 14th, which will be right after NASCAR is done. So, yeah. So those are your key dates of what episodes we got coming up, and it's going to be a very exciting time for us. Looking forward to that. The Oklahoma Highway Safety Office is a proud sponsor of the IMSA podcast, as well as the PCS Array all season long, and wants to remind all of our friends that drinking and driving is deadly and illegal. Together we can end DUI. Visit enduyok.com for details. Thank you to Nathan Norman, Zachary Taylor, Great Lakes, Tom Shores, our statistician Caleb Hobbs, producer and engineer Zachary Fitzroy, Alex Hawkins, Tom Shores, Greg Rutz, Daniel Anderson running the show for us back in our PCS Array Network studios. It is going to be a very fun way to kick off the end of the season. Until August 9th, when we recap Road America and we preview our next race at Monterey. Until August 9th, this is Daniel Vole saying, Boomer Sooner, and take care, everybody. And I'll see you on the Twitch stream.
On the PCS Array Sports Network from Learfield IMG College, IMSA Podcast has been brought to you by Budweiser, Love's Travel Stops, iHeartMedia, The Oklahoman, Newcastle Casino, Devon Energy, Sonic Drive-Ins, and by Chevrolet. Thanks for joining us for the IMSA Podcast. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation on the PCS Array Sports Network. Copyright 2021 by the Pacific Coast Sports Racing Association and the International Motorsports Association Incorporates.